Hello there and welcome once again to Red Gaming Tech. My name is Amasa. Today is the 9th of July and I'm here once again to give you yet more of your daily dose of gaming news. And this time I have some rather sad news concerning ZombiU and Ubisoft, as they have confirmed that they have no plans to release a sequel after the Wii U exclusive failed to turn a profit. And they have said that the game wasn't even close to making a return on the publisher's investment, and this was told by CEO Yves Guillemot to Games Industry International. And apparently ZombiU was one of the most popular titles for the Wii U, but as I said, was not even close to giving them back their investment. And they also said that the poor performance for ZombiU was the key factor behind the decision to switch Rayman Legends from a Wii U exclusive to a multi-platform game. And he had this to say: "We must find a way to ensure the creativity of those games could have a big enough audience. We hope it will take off. At the moment we've said let's do it through Christmas and see where we are from there." So it's a bit of a shame that ZombiU didn't work out for them. That game had its share of problems, to be sure, but it was a very good game that definitely deserved to do better than it did. And of course, you could argue that it being on the Wii U was a major sticking point for most people, and I'm a little bit surprised that they haven't actually announced a current-gen version for it at the moment. Perhaps they're still under contract to not do so, or they're simply waiting to see if the Christmas period this year will bring in yet more sales, or what have you. It's tough to say, but I would expect to see a different version of ZombiU on some other console, whether it's current gen or perhaps next gen. I wouldn't be surprised to see that at some point soon. Obviously it was intended as a Wii U exclusive, but with it selling not even close to enough units to give them their money back, I would think that they're definitely going to want to get it out there on other platforms if they can, just to try and reap some of that money back, and maybe put the game into the hands of people who wanted to play but perhaps couldn't. You know, perhaps there's probably many people out there who wanted to play the game, who perhaps even, wanted to buy a Wii U or what have you, and just didn't have the money, which is fair enough. Not everyone can afford new consoles all the time, which is fair enough. You can't exactly blame people for that. So that's what my hope is. But this does mean that obviously we won't be seeing ZombiU 2 anytime soon, or pretty much ever, unless they do end up doing some sort of port, and then unless that port ends up doing really well, we're probably not going to ever see ZombiU 2, which is a real shame. ZombiU was an interesting game. It had a ton of interesting ideas. It didn't execute all of them what I would call perfectly. It had a few problems, of course, as every game ever does, but it was a very good game that I personally loved, and it was a nice return to survival horror. I loved the focus on melee combat, and the fact that for once we had a game set in England, which is a little bit of a rarity, to say the least. It was a little bit irritating that you had Americanisms making their way into the supposed British people speaking, but that's just a minor gripe from a proud British lass. Not exactly what I would call a huge deal by any stretch of the imagination. So fingers crossed that perhaps they find some way to get it out onto another platform, make some money from it, and then maybe we might see ZombiU 2, but it seems unlikely. They're saying that there's no plans for a sequel, which means that, of course, if it was to suddenly sell like millions of copies or what have you, then they would reconsider. But until then, we're not going to seeing ZombiU 2, which is a real shame. It was one of the first big name horror games that actually felt like a horror game in a long time. Of course, we had a ton of indie games that have done horror really well. Amnesia, Slender, so many. There's Dread Out, which is coming out on Steam, just been greenlit. So many indie games that have done it brilliantly, but we've been a bit lacking in AAA horror that actually feels like horror. So it's a real shame that ZombiU has not done well, and that we will not be seeing the idea expanded anymore. But fingers crossed that maybe sometime in the future we will see that. But that's what I'm hoping for, but I don't expect it anytime soon. Anyway, that's me done for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.